Welcome back to Access Channel Comics. Today, a look back at this past Sunday's season opener of The Walking Dead Season 7. Now, as many of you may know, The Walking Dead has officially returned back for its fall season premiere this past Sunday. For 6 months, we have waited for the long-anticipated conclusion of who did Negan do in, as far as kill off on the episode. Now, for those of you who have not seen the episode just yet, warning, there are spoilers ahead, possible spoilers. If you like that kind of thing, then fine, then watch. But this is for those who most certainly have watched the episode. Now, we do find out in the episode of how it opened up. It picked up where it left off, where Negan was holding the bat. But it did show and reveal who the bat that he calls Lucille with the barbed wire focused on. And it was Abraham. Abraham was chosen. Keep in mind, at the end of last season, Abraham did rise up, because Abraham would have rather took the hit than any of them. And he was chosen. Now keep in mind, this is how sadistical Negan is. It's not that he hit Abraham because Abraham rose up. He actually respected that last season. But it just happened to the point of it landed on Negan. Kind of a similar thing to one of Batman's Rose Gallery Two-Face. Whichever side the coin land on, that's what he's going to go with. Now, he did proceed to hit Negan. Negan proceeded to hit Abraham, But Abraham rose back up, and he told Negan to suck a sack, if you know what I'm saying. But Negan actually laughed and respected that, so he did continue to wham away. After it was over, Abraham's head physically looked like hamburger meat. It was one of the most horrifying sights. It's a tough thing to take. Now keep in mind, this is a big loss because we've gotten used to Abraham being on the show also. Now, the comic books, as Abraham's counterpart in the comic books, died from the arrow in the eye, in the back of the head. So keep in mind, this is a different take. Now, that's the thing about The Walking Dead. Sometimes the show differs from the actual book. Now, we are coming up to reveal a little bit more about the episode. He then taunted Lucille in front of Rosita. He put together that Rosita had a history with Abraham, which we all know she did. But then comes a big climactic moment. Daryl rose up and he punched Negan right in the face. He stole him. So Negan's men grabbed Daryl, tackled him down to the ground. Now, with that said, there is a lot of people who saying a lot of this next part is on Daryl. Well, possibly, but then again, give Daryl for the benefit of a doubt. Many of us like Daryl. He is arguably the most popular one off the show. He doesn't even exist in the comic book. However, no one likes to see, especially a woman who's helpless, who has done nothing wrong to anyone, being taunted that way. You have to understand why Daryl rose up. So Dwight was asking Negan, do you want me to do it? I'll do it right here, right now. But Negan said, no, you don't kill this one, not until you have a piece. So got him back in line, and we all thought he was going to basically take Lucille to Daryl. But then the big reveal came. This was a comic book counterpart equalness. It was a deep cut. Negan took Lucille to Glenn, right upside the head, busting him wide open. Head split, gashed, eye popped out. Even Negan was laughing about it, saying, not a continuous laugh, but just like, whoa, did you see that your eye popped out of your head and everything? The whole group really broke down. I believe we as an audience broke down. He continued to wail away on Glenn. And so the two victims at the hands of Negan with his bat called Lucille with the barbed wire was Glenn and Abraham. Deep cuts to the comic book, especially with Glenn. It was very more emotional to Glenn. All due respect to Abraham. A lot of people liked Abraham, but Glenn, people loved Glenn. Glenn is one of the original cast members from the first season. Now, to my knowledge, there are only 4 characters left from the original group. Correct me if I'm wrong. Put your comments at the bottom if I'm wrong. But those 4 are Rick, Carl, Carol, and Daryl. This was very huge. And so many people do blame Daryl. Many people do not. I personally do not blame Daryl, because honestly, no one wants to see anyone taunted the way Rosita was being taunted. You can say what you want to say. Don't get me wrong. Technically, in a way, kind of it is Daryl's fault, because Daryl did raise up and Negan did warn them all like, hey, when Glenn got emotional, I'll let you have that one for free. But I think to the point of, even though Glenn wasn't the one to join this time, Glenn was the one who did it the first time, so he said, I'm going to show you who I am. He even said, I don't know who the a-holes you dealt with before. And bam, he took the bat to Glenn's head. Also, I believe he tried to show a perspective to Daryl to say, hey, you're going to have to live with this is your fault. Now, carrying on the episode, we did see some climactic moments between Rick and Negan, such as when he threw the axe out and told Rick to go get his axe. And he doesn't mean Rick's axe anymore. He means his own axe. Rick got pushed out and had to survive the walkers, even had to hang on to one who was tied up, whose head came off. And so when the swarm of walkers surrounded Rick, Negan actually saved Rick, shot the walkers up and everything. Huge climactic moment. I must admit, I thought when he was sanitizing the axe, I thought maybe this is a moment where he will take the axe to Rick's hand, as said in the comic books. But I do remember Robert Kirkman said a little time back that he didn't want to do that to Rick. He realized how limited it made Rick. So that was a very deep moment. Even deeper moment when he had asked Carl, did he know if he's a southpaw? Carl said, a what? He said, a lefty. He tied the belt around Carl's arm, said, does that hurt? Carl said, no. He said, it should. He had Carl lie down, and he asked Rick to cut off Carl's arm, or else he's going to kill the rest of the group. We've never seen the group like this, not against anyone, not even the governor. That's how bad Negan is. So he raised up the axe, climbed him in a climactic moment. Definitely not. I want to be careful what I say here. Now, I'm not saying that Rick is Abraham. I'm talking about Abraham is in the Bible or anything like that, and Carl is the the son. But it's kind of a comparison like that. And I'm definitely not saying Negan is God, but when God tested Abraham to see if he was going to do what he was going to do, when Abraham raised the axe up, that's similar to what happened with Rick. But Negan told him to stop. He said, I wanted to do it to now make that look you have on your face. That's how bad Negan is as a villain. He will strip you down. Other villains, we've seen in other comic books or whatever, they do some sadistic stuff. They just kill people off or whatever, kidnap, torture. Negan is the type of person, he really doesn't do that a lot. He just basically strips you down and lets you know who is in charge. Now, later in the season, I do believe Rick is going to come back big time. I do believe we're going to see Daryl come back bigger at first. I'm talking about getting the revenge back. But it's probably going to be a while. Now, this is how bad Negan is as a villain. He drove off, left them out there, not stranded, left them back with the vehicle, took Daryl away. So he left Rick pondering with a couple of things. You can't go up against me because I have Daryl. Also, I'm not leaving you guys stranded. I just want you to drive off and remember, you work for me now. You can't even act like this never happened. That's how crucial he is as a villain. Now, who is Negan? But we've come to got to know Negan. Jeffrey Dean Morgan was spot on with the role. He knocked it out of the ballpark. Jeffrey Dean Morgan is one of the best character actors out there in the world. But keep in mind, before Jeffrey Dean Morgan got the role, there is a Negan counterpart, and that is the comic book. One of Robert Kirkman's greatest creations, one of the baddest villains, and a lot of people are definitely going to get to know him in the mainstream now. He drops the F-bomb a lot. He has a bat wrapped in barbed wire named Lucille. And you will come to find out how the name came to be as far as Lucille later. But who is Negan? Well, in this year, in 2016, Robert Kirkman then released a backstory to Negan. Negan was actually once a high school sports coach, a gym coach, a basketball coach who coached the male's basketball team. Now, he wasn't the sadistic killer or psychopath he is today, but he was still arrogant, a little bit mean. He used to talk down and talk trash and break high school students down, make them feel bad about himself even about it, even if they made mistakes. His wife caught wind of this and she did not like it. She got on him about being a bully to these kids, but one evening they got into it. She passed out on the floor in the middle of saying something. But here's the compassion thing. Negan loved his wife. He showed compassion about his wife. Got her to the hospital. Come to find out his wife had cancer. Now, with that said, Negan also had a lady on the side, a mistress, having an affair. Once the mistress found out his wife had cancer, she broke off the affair. Negan's wife didn't know about it. Their relationship was complicated. But one day at the hospital, staying with his wife, he looked on the outside and noticed something was going on outside, a commotion. And he started noticing the human beings he saw didn't look like human beings. This was the beginning of the apocalypse. Now keep in mind, this is when everybody started noticing The Walking Dead, as far as through the eyes in the comic book. His wife died. He later, in a way, did a dedication to her by naming the bat wrapped in barbed wire, named that bat after his wife, Lucille. And he says, Lucille is thirsty. Lucille is awesome. And that's how Negan came to be. He's the type of character similar to villains such as the Joker, similar to villains such as Loki. What is the backstory? You kind of don't know, and you're kind of okay with that. Negan is going to definitely dominate a lot in this season. The Walking Dead, AMC has already gave it a 8th season, re-signed for 8th season. The ratings are going to keep shooting up sky, so it's going to be remarkable. But also, keep in mind this, just as in the comics, where Negan is, not too far behind, is Ezekiel, King Ezekiel, and we were beginning to see him in Season 7, Episode 2. Ezekiel is on his way with the kingdom. And we're going to get to see that some of Rick's other crew members, Morgan and Carol, which Morgan already has, but Carol's about to meet him. So it's going to be very interesting. So make sure you catch that trailer now that is on YouTube, which is The Walking Dead Season 7, Episode 2. But what did you think about Episode 1 of Season 7, the opener? Put your comments at the bottom. Also, who else do you think? Do you think anybody else will go down at the hands of Negan? Put your comments at the bottom. Also, just don't sit back and watch this channel. Click that subscribe button for this channel. I've been waiting for The Walking Dead to return because I wanted to do some stuff on The Walking Dead, some reviews and everything. I'm a huge Walking Dead fan, but I will admit, I'm not the high-tech genius on The Walking Dead. I am still learning. I learned a lot of stuff about catching up on some of the books some years ago. Once I heard it, was a comic book after the television show, because I got huge into the television show. It was something different. So I'm glad it is back. It's in Season 7, renewed for Season 8. Negan is finally in the full flesh. He's here now. We're about to see King Ezekiel. We're about to see Rick on a journey to a comeback. Maybe a while. What I mean by a journey to comeback, how will he dethrone Negan? It's going to be very interesting to see this. So like I said, put your comments at the bottom. Click that subscribe button. And remember, Access Channel Comics acknowledges there are many, there are few, but there are none like you. We'll look to see you back again soon. Peace.